There you go. Carry on, Levi.
So I'm saying, give me, because I don't personally know, so like, just give me examples of people in a UK context in terms of activism who are really putting their livelihoods, their lives, their beings on the line.
Okay,
Yeah.
Give me an example of.
But before I do that, like another one is death of career. Like Monroe Bergdorf, for example, spoke out against L'Oreal. Well, while she was employed by L'Oreal as the first transgender model, she spoke about how all white people are inherently racist and benefit from the structure of racism. She was fired. Granted, it was the best thing for her career because she's become a queer icon. But then she went on to be the LGBT advisor for Jeremy Corbyn for the Labour Party. People dug up old tweets she had written 4 years ago, and they used that against her, and she had to step down within the first week. Josh Rivers, the first black editor of the Gay Times magazine, within the first 3 months of him being the editor, they dug up old tweets from him from 6 years ago where he said misogynistic, horrible, racist things. Azealia Banks, a person who perpetually speaks her mind, has mental health issues and has openly spoken about the mental health issues that she has, and has called out people in the Hollywood industry such as Russell Crowe who have physically assaulted her, has called out the appropriation of black culture, the appropriation of queer culture, the use of words such as faggot, and her entire career has been a consequence of that. She was banned from coming to the UK because of it. Where is that same sort of...
She calls someone a curry-scented faggot.
She calls someone a curry-scented bitch and a dirty refugee. Yes, I understand that, and I know that that's problematic as fuck. But what about all the other... But what about...
I think your criticisation of Azealia Banks comes from the fact that you love her music and you're obsessed with it.
I think that she is extremely talented.
The point is, back to the original.
But the point is...
But you're trying to deconstruct the term, would you die? Like, simply, who is willing to die for the cause? Yeah, not like what do you define as death?
No, but I think, but in the UK you have to define death as something else. No, but in the UK you have to define death as something else.
Are you willing to die for your politics?
Yes, I am willing to die for my politics because I don't want to live in a world which doesn't appreciate or respect me.
Would you put yourself in a situation knowing full well that you could get 10 years in prison for doing what you believe to be necessary to fight your struggle?
Because it's a reality in a hostile environment.
Would you?
But being in prison isn't death, that's death of freedom, which is the point I was trying to make. There are people who experience that. But you're also looking at things from an extremely British perspective. What about...
So we're not looking at death. Would you put yourself in a situation knowing full well that you'd go to jail for 10 years for doing an action or something political which you believe to be necessary?
It would depend, yes, it would depend what that action is. But also I don't know about prison. I've never been to prison, so I don't know what prison is like. I don't know. I wouldn't know until I'm in that situation. I'm sure there is something which I would definitely give away my freedom would die for if it was like a situation which, yeah.
Do you think your struggle, the things that the oppressions that you face right now, or do you think those things are worth dying for? Do you think
I think that I'm more. I think it's better if I'm alive and that I'm not in jail because I can do more.
But if it came to it and you could do something radical.
If it made an actual change and it was a big change, like Martin Luther King did, like you were just talking about, Malcolm X. I really don't want to compare myself to Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Yeah. But in the context of what you just asked, if I could be on that level, absolutely.
And do you think it's just as necessary now as it was then?
To what?
To put yourself in a situation where you could go to jail or be killed. To walk through Selma.
I don't think in London. I don't think in the UK is.
Cross Selma, like go to Selma, knowing full well that these people want to kill you. That's what they're with guns, with weapons, and they want to kill you, and did kill people.
But you cannot compare something. But this is why I was saying like
that's my point. Is it
context has transitioned so much in the past. No, context has transitioned so much in the past 50 years. So it's not the same. Like we have different ways of being able to empower ourselves through the use of the internet, through the use of like communication, which wasn't around 50 years ago. So it's not the same context. There are certain things you cannot... No, but it's not a simple question because it's not a simple context.
But let me pause you there because it'll be so good, but we've got 2 more questions I've got to shoot in 10 minutes. Thank you. What about you, Levi? Would you be prepared to die for it? However you define dying.
I don't think so, no.
Okay. No, that's cool.
I don't think that my struggles necessarily in this day and age, in this context, in the country I live in, require me to die for.
You're just literally walking backwards.
Right, next question. Then let's keep this one. Let's keep them all brief. Maya Angelou talks about a bird in a cage in Why the Caged Bird Sings. Picture a bird in a cage. Where do you see yourself in the context of what we've been talking about, Stonewall, queer liberation,
Having an argument after this interview.
do you see yourself as the bird or the cage or both, or where do you see yourself in that picture?
I used to see myself as the bird, but I found it very, very clear that also the cage. My existence itself, although I face my oppressions and I'm gay and I'm black and I have all those oppressions, I'm also toxic. I also perpetuate toxic masculinity through how
you consume identity.
How I consume identity. And
Absolutely.
I express myself. So apparently.
Don't be shady.
I'm learning to understand it more.
Yeah.
I'm also, I can also be very oppressed, but also oppressive.
That's the point. We're all the cage and the bird.
150%. I am probably equally the cage as I am the bird.
Well, in the same way that
I am equally the cage.
To like Erkan's gender identity or my toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
But in the same way as an Arab, he perpetuates a level of racism, which is inherent in his culture, and
I benefit from that racism. Yeah, absolutely. I think the levels to which I can only speak for myself when I say that for me, I am equally the cage and the bird. Like,
where's it gone? Is gentrification more than?
This is an essay question.
I know, and keep it really brief because we'll come back to it with a proper camera.
When I saw this, yeah.
Is gentrification more than just a physical process? If so, what?
Of course.
Yeah, how?
Of course.
Well, it's
You read Gentrification of the Mind?
Yes.
We're bringing Sarah over in May.
Really?
For 5 days. Yeah, we've just been Olympia and me have just been putting together their programme. I know, innit? I'll tell you what the programme's going to be. Touching on all the good things.
Oh my god.
So how is it more than a physical process?
Well, it's not just about an area being gentrified. It's about a whole culture. It's about how culture's erased, how that affects the community, how that affects what goes on in that community, or whether that community is dispersed, or working class communities are dispersed and separated, and just taking away that community is both physical and mentally. Food
is a big part of that as well. Gentrification through food is massive. Yeah, like the commercialization of food. Like, I remember when I was younger, I used to go to school with falafel and hummus made by my dad, and like sometimes when he was in a good mood, he'd make kunefe from scratch, and I would take little bits of kunefe in like Tupperware to
You went to school in London?
Yeah. And when I was younger, I went to a very posh private school filled with white people in suburban southwest London called Emmanuel. I was one of the only people of colour there, and it was a way for my parents to, in their mind, they used every money they could to kind of put me into that certain environment. Yes, I know, but what I'm saying in regards to food, don't be shady. What I'm saying in regards to food though is when I was younger, I used to go and people used to literally laugh at falafel and hummus, and they used to be like, that looks like poo, what is that white stuff, it looks like sick, it looks like vomit, kunefe, what is that, cheese on a dessert, all of that stuff. Now, you buy hummus for like £15, like artisan hummus in Planet Organic, you can literally buy for £15 of like walnuts. You buy beetroot hummus in fucking M&S for £4. That is something which we were vilified as for our culture and our cuisine, which has now been gentrified, it's been commercialized, and it's been seen as acceptable. It's the same, you have like vegan kebabs. Who in their right mind eats a vegan kebab?
Like, also, especially like Asian cuisine, because like culinary xenophobia is like a very real thing. Especially with like Asian cuisine, with like new vegans who like are obsessed with tofu, but think that like, a Vietnamese hot pot looks disgusting.
Yeah.
And it's like always that. It always starts like that, and it's like a huge Twitter fight about that, where like one guy like retweeted like a hot pot that had some beef in it, and then he said, "Oh my god, that looks really gross." And then like a Vietnamese scholar just got on Twitter and like served him right, and he was basically telling him like, you're fucking obsessed with fucking tofu, and you're saying that about our food.
Well, did you not see what happened with National Geographic? They just announced a new... No, exactly, this is a gentrification with food, Miss Thing. We're still on topic, don't worry. Gordon Ramsay is going to be doing a new series with National Geographic where he goes around the world parachuting into other cultures and showing the locals that he can cook their cuisine better than they can.
Gordon Ramsay's restaurant in just off Regent Street is where... So when we were initially starting Queer Tours, obviously we were researching around there. There was a huge, his toilet 100 years ago in that restaurant was one of the main cottaging spots.
Really?
Yeah, and I went in there, I was like, do you know where your toilet used to be? And he was like, shut up. So it's the beginning of 2019 and you're gearing up for the year ahead. What are the 3 mantras or stories or people do you pack in your queer knapsack and why? So imagine it's queer desert island discs.
Okay.
And you're being sent to the queer fight for the year ahead. What do you put in your bag? 3 things: people, songs,
Right.
things.
One person immediately, India Moore. I don't know if you know her, but she is the trans actress who played on Pose. She is absolutely outstanding, and her politics and her mantras, everything she writes is so on point.
Yeah.
And that is someone who I would absolutely love to have with me, India Moore, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And then Bjork.
Yeah.
Bjork is the fine intersection between future, technology, ecology, queerness,
We should
fashion.
put Bjork over. Because
Oh
I'm
my
getting
God.
paid by SOAS at the moment to put a whole year-long program. We should book. I know her mum. I've been to her mum's house.
This isn't even a joking matter for me.
Her mum was a big fighter in
In the environmental activism,
Yeah,
right?
I
Yeah.
interviewed her in 2005 in her house. She lives in like a corrugated iron shed with pictures of Bjork on her, smoking loads of fags, pictures of Bjork on the mantelpiece. She's amazing. She's a fucking
So
minty.
Bjork for me it's
Makes
Bjork and
sense.
India Moore.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You've got one more.
A gun, more unapologeticness, and a lot more arrogance, confidence.
A gun,
Unapologeticness.
apologeticness,
Unapologetic.
India Moore,
Improved unapologeticness.
and
And
arrogance.
more arrogance and confidence.
Oh, nice. Why a gun?
To
Oh,
You got one more.
Guapa by Salim Haddad, because that book literally in 2018 when I read it was like the biggest legitimation and validation of my life that I've ever read in my life.
Guapa.
Yeah, it's a novel it's the debut novel of I think he's Jordan. Safe, is he Jordanian?
He's Syrian.
No, he's not Syrian.
I switched the gun for
Wallah?
the book. Why I don't talk to white
He's
people about
Syrian
race.
Lebanese.
Yeah.
Because
I thought he was Jordanian.
I think
No.
the biggest.
Are you kidding? Like light brown hair and blue eyes, Jordanian? Are you nuts? It's like the
True.
most Syrian thing ever.
I think one of the biggest conversations in a British context that needs to be talked about is England's lack of awareness when it comes down to the involvement of the British Empire in slavery and how, as a culture, British people are not as apologetic as American people because we're not taught about the British influence in
We bought them planes.
the British influence in the slave trade. We only speak about America, so even it was only like a couple of years ago that I realised that Britain was at the forefront of the slave trade, and it's only because of the idea that slaves weren't actually, they didn't have plantations here, and they didn't have slaves at home, so you didn't really see the effects of it. And in America, you had the plantations and all that kind of thing, so there's a physical presence. But here, we went out, we captured them, we brought them here to all the port towns, and then we shipped them out, and we made loads of money out of it. And that was, funded the British Empire essentially. But for some reason, we just don't really, people's not aware here. So I think that's the biggest thing in this country to make any sort of change when it comes down to race specifically is for people to understand the influence that Britain had in slave trade.
And you've had your free. Finish the sentence. Brick by brick, stone by stone. There's no right or wrong answer. This isn't even a mantra. I just made it up. Brick by brick, stone by stone. Be anything. Be a joke.
I am the queen of my own throne.
Oh, that is the best one I've heard so far. Oh, babes. Yeah, Levi? Yeah, you can. Brick by brick, stone by stone.
Burn it all down.
Huh? Burn it all down. Great. Oh, sweetheart, thank you so much. That's it. That's them all covered.
Good.
But obviously we've got to return to the